This is my farm.
Don't come out here and tell me what I need.
I need solutions that work and market options that are worth my time.
Small town support that sees the bigger picture.
A global network that empowers us. A co-op that's there for us every day.
Thank you for joining us for our Agri-Pulse Washington Week in Review. I'm Spencer Chase, joined as always by Agri-Pulse Executive Editor Phil Brasher, discussing the week that was, agriculturally speaking, in Washington, D.C. And obviously, as I'm sure you all will know, the topic that is dominating the news continues to be the coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic. And now we're kind of shifting into all the various ways that different industries are reacting to it and kind of coping with sort of the world that we're living in now as a result of this outbreak. And that includes agriculture, and that includes a couple of specific segments of agriculture, including the meatpacking industry, which has had, frankly, for lack of better phrasing, it's had kind of a rough week. There's been a number of facilities that shut down because of some concerns about the workforce in those facilities, including Smithfield, a facility in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which the New York Times has labeled the top coronavirus hotspot in all of the United States of America, is the Smithfield facility in South Dakota. And so, Phil, obviously the headline is that these facilities are shutting down and that production is coming offline and workers are getting sick. As we look a little bit deeper, what are some of the other things that we're seeing in this broader conversation about, meat production capacity and plant shutdowns?
Well, at the root of this is a problem all along the food chain. It has obviously become most acute in meat and beef packing, pork processing, and we're also hearing some in poultry processing as well. And that's has to do with these workers not having the personal protection equipment. It's just course, matter of course, workers in a packing plant work very closely together. It's a recipe for having an outbreak, and that's what's happened in so many of these places. The industry is really struggling to get testing going, getting masks and goggles and all the sorts of equipment that you want to have to protect workers. There's concern of this, but all the way through the food chain. Various industry groups have been working on this and appealing to FEMA and other agencies to designate these workers so that they can get access to this equipment. But it's a problem.
Mm-hmm. And some of the earliest issues that we covered on this subject was this issue of agricultural groups and companies and the like looking to get their industry declared as essential in the wake of this coronavirus pandemic. And so it's important to note a lot of these closures that we're seeing are not necessarily in wake of stay-at-home orders issued by states or something. It's because these companies, in coordination with local, state, federal, whatever government entity may be at play here, a lot of them are deciding that it's sort of a health necessity that this plant take a bit of a break.
Yeah, of course, these plants, as all parts of the food chain, are exempt from these stay-at-home orders under either what the states have put out, also under the guidance that the Department of Homeland Security put out last month. So these are individual decisions made by companies with or without maybe some pressure from the governors and state officials. But their goal is to, in some cases, they just don't have the personnel possibly, but the other target goal is to get these outbreaks under control.
Mm-hmm. And so obviously this is a very ongoing situation. It's, it seems like every day there's more developments, more plants that are facing either shutdowns or slowdowns, a variety of different ways that it's impacting their production. And so we'll be sure to keep you up to date on agripulse.com and all of the various forms of coverage that we offer about just where things stand at any given point in this situation. It's, as I mentioned, it's a very evolving situation, a lot of fluid movement on this subject, and so we'll be sure to keep an eye on and keep you all posted, because it's something that we're obviously very interested in, because we know you are as well. But while we've got you here on a Friday afternoon, we also want to talk about a couple of other things that are obviously very important in the wake of the coronavirus response, and that being one of those things being a Department of Agriculture program that is in the works and remains in the works in terms of trying to respond to the coronavirus pandemic using funds provided by Congress. We know that the Department of Agriculture is working on a $16 billion program to issue assistance to producers. But Phil, I guess as we sit here right now, what do we know about this program and when it might be able to be expected?
Well, Secretary Perdue has come out this week and given some hints about what will be in this program, what it will look like. We're talking about $16 billion. That's $9.5 billion that was earmarked in the economic stimulus bill for COVID-19 relief in agriculture, plus another $6 billion that was available to USDA and their Commodity Credit Corporation account. What Secretary Perdue has said is that this $16 billion will be distributed in a mix of direct payments and commodity purchases, and the vast majority of that will be direct payments for no other reason because USDA can only buy and distribute so much in the terms of meat and milk and the other products that it is going to want to buy and get off the market.
Well, and it's something we mentioned last week. It's something we continue to mention in our just dialogue with each other on a regular basis. And it's something that's important to note again. The department has kind of an uphill battle here in terms of the requests that they're getting, in terms of the amount of money that each individual industry thinks that it is due as a result of this pandemic. There's just not going to be enough money to go around to put to make everyone whole here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've reported on so many of these request appeals that have come into USDA, and it's every industry you can think of, from ethanol to specialty crop, fruits and vegetables. Obviously the meat and poultry industry has been hit very, very hard, and goes on and on and on, including local agriculture, which is specified in the bill for the $9.5 billion.
So obviously, that's something to continue to monitor. Is when USDA is going to drop that aid package. As we sit here right now, we do not have it, but that is something that we're told it can be expected soon from the department, and so we'll be sure to keep you up to date on what we're hearing and when we're hearing it, and once that's rolled out, what that means for all of production agriculture, and just what that means for any potential aid packages going forward. Because keep in mind, there is another $14 billion CCC replenishment coming yet this summer. What the department plans to do with that, nobody has explicitly told Phil or me. I guess nobody's told me. I don't know if they've told Phil, but that's
well, it's going to be July, sort of down the road, and who knows? We may get more money in addition to that. We obviously still have the trade disruptions, but clearly the virus and the crisis that it has caused in the food supply chain is issue and priority number one for USDA and the administration.
Mm-hmm. And another major priority for the administration and for Capitol Hill, really, that we want to talk about before you let you go, is this Paycheck Protection Program. It had been running out of money for the last week, and it officially hit zero in its balance earlier this week. And Phil, this is something that's a bit of a Republican and Democratic impasse at this point, as Republicans look for a clean funding extension, and Democrats look to also fund some other programs in the midst as PPP gets a funding replenishment.
Yeah, this program, just real quick, this is basically provides forgivable loans that are essentially grants, as long as the small business, and that includes farms, use it to cover mostly to cover payroll costs. Been very popular, a lot of interest among dairy farms and other agricultural operations and employers. Started off with $350 billion. That was gone in a matter of days. The administration has asked for $250 billion more. The Democrats, there's a lot of support among Democrats for this program as well. However, they are trying to use this as leverage to get a number of other needs addressed, including money for healthcare providers. They very much want an increase in SNAP or food stamp benefits. And they also want to target some of this small business money as well.
hmm So that's something that we're following, and not just us. That's probably one of the major coronavirus recovery stories right now in the broader news media as well, because a lot of small businesses have used this program and have found it to be fairly helpful as they try to recover from this pandemic and keep paychecks flowing. And so, obviously, that's something that we're going to keep following right along with the Packer issues that we mentioned, as well as the USDA aid package. So certainly, you hate to joke at a time like this, but we certainly don't lack for content these days. A lot of things going on to keep us very busy at agripulse.com, and we certainly appreciate all of you stopping by to stay informed in terms of what's going on for the coronavirus recovery and its impact on food and ag policy. But I think that's going to do it for this week. So for Phil Brasher, I'm Spencer Chase. Have a good one.